it's Amelie. Today for the just practicing, we're going to do the Concertino by DuVernoy. So it's a French composer. It's in the French composer book, and yeah, so it's a live stream. If you have any question, just ask them and I'll try to answer them right away. And so I'm gonna start. I never played that piece, but I've listened to it. I think maybe once I sight read it before. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna try it and we'll see where it goes. So I think in the beginning the piano or orchestra goes like a tremolo, like something like that, and it's kind of mysterious. It's written dolce, espressivo, doloroso, which means it's soft, expressive, and like suffering, painful. So it's slow. Wait. Okay, so there's 2 beats per measure. There's a lot of notes in there. I would advise you to take a pencil and maybe put little lines where the beats are. Well, that's what I'm gonna do. So not everywhere, but at 10 I'm gonna do it. Okay, and then you have a lot of notes to fit in one beat here. You have 12 notes in one beat. Ta-da. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, okay. I'll try it. I'll subdivide it first, that little thing at bar 11. So here, the E and F sharp, instead of doing the real fingering, I'm just going to do the trill fingering because it's very fast. Okay. And now with the real tempo, I'll start at 10. Okay. It's very funny when you have a slow movement with very fast notes. It's still a slow movement because all the pulse is very slow, but you have to put a lot of notes into it, but it has to sound like super calm because it's a slow movement. So it has to sound seamless, like you're improvising and it's so easy. So yeah, okay, I'll do that other little thing just after, like bar 12. And also try to figure out what are the groups there. Like you see that whole, really it's just D, G sharp, and B twice. So if you see it like that, it's just a G sharp, B, and D. It's a diminished 5th chord there. Okay. So you see, sometimes you have to put 12 notes in one quarter note. So make sure you really know where the beats are. 2 beats per measure, and make sure it's clear in your head, because you want everything to be proportional, you know, with the rhythm. Okay, I'll try it again, but I'll subdivide every 8 notes. I'll do it around at 92 per 8 note instead. Oh no, 80 per 8 note. Relaxed. I went too fast there. Wait. Okay, so you see, subdividing is a good way to make sure you understand everything. That might be a bit too fast, you know, if you're starting it. So feel free to go way slower than that, but make sure you're learning the right rhythm when you're learning it, so you don't have to unlearn and relearn things. Okay, I think we kind of get it. I could play it at tempo, but I think I'm going to continue. Is that okay? Yeah, any question?
No, no question.
Okay. Next part, lento, dolce semplice. So it just means simple and soft. I think I might, yeah, I think I might do again that first part. I'll try to do it with the dynamics from the beginning. And then poco agitato, I'll try to go a bit faster. It's more agitated, more fast. And then diminuendo, I'm going to try to do that whole thing again with no metronome. That's nice. It's a nice piece. So kind of like that. I think I might have cracked a note in one spot. It doesn't matter. I think it's that E. I think something wasn't clear in my mind, and then maybe I didn't support enough on that note. Okay, so that's a nice beginning, and then it goes dum. So it's double dotted, and it's 32nd note, so it's really at the very end of the beat that you play it. Okay, I'll try that. Okay, I'm gonna do this instead of going da da da. I'm gonna do da ga da ga da. I'm gonna do ka on the 32nd note and ta on the note that follows. For me, it's easier to do it like that. Maybe for you, it's easier to do ta 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 ta. I'll do kata kata kata. Okay. I like that thing here with the crescendo, decrescendo. I'll do it again.
Are you at the lento?
Yeah?
Yep.
I'm at the lento. Okay, there's a lot there. Oh, and then. Okay, so all those big scales after 30 that go like at 31. Okay, what I do is that I see there's a G sharp. You start on a G sharp, but after that it's G natural. It's all natural. It's like a C major scale, but you end it on an A. So just write A, and then you know you're all doing every note until the A, you know. And then I do the same in the next bar with this one. You start on F sharp, then you have an F natural, and you go all the way up to the high G. And the next bar, you have all naturals, and you go all the way up to the high B. So just write B, so you know where you're heading. And then okay, obviously for me it takes less time to do that because I've practiced my scales a lot when I was younger. And so I know those combinations of fingerings. If it's more difficult for you, you should use that as a technique exercise. Maybe instead of practicing another technique exercise for a little while, you can practice that. And you can practice it going up and down. So you can start slowly. You can slur by 2. And then you can find different ways you practice it. Slurred, tongue, you change your rhythm like this. Then instead of doing long, short, you do short, long. And so on and so on. You can find different ways to practice it. Or just put a timer and say, I'm practicing each one of these scales, alternating between slow and fast for a minute every day. So you have 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. It's 4 minutes, and you're going to improve very fast in those. So that's a little trick, you know. Start by understanding what's going on and grouping things so you don't have to read every note. And then once that's done, just do it over and over in different ways. Don't do it all the time very fast or always very slowly. You have to do both. If you don't push yourself and you just do it slowly, your fingers won't just magically start going faster. And if you do it all the time very fast, you might have a problem because you might lose control. So going back to slowly might give you back that control. Any question? No? Okay. Here it's a chromatic scale. So at the beginning, it's not chromatic. It starts being chromatic here. On this G sharp, the second G sharp. From here, it's chromatic. So if you practiced your chromatic scales, it's going to be easy. If not, just practice it. Or practice a F chromatic scale. Once you're good at that, just practice that little thing. Until you can do it very fast. If you keep your fingers close to the keys, it's going to be easier. Well, for me it is. I know some people have very good technique and lift their fingers a lot. But that's an exception, I guess, because usually if you lift them less, you have less space to cover, so it's easier to go faster. Also, if you can use rotation a little bit, so instead of just using the fingers, you kind of have the arm assisting the fingers, and I don't think you see it, but I kind of use there's a tiny bit of motion sometimes. Just being free makes the motion happen by itself. You don't have to overthink it. Okay, and then here you have to go and do a decrescendo on that last bar before vif. So I think what I would do is do that first F pretty loud so that the second one sounds softer, even though, because it's difficult to do soft. So maybe if we do the first one very loud, the second one, even if it's not that soft, will sound way softer. So that's what I'm gonna do. Here it's written court on that last note. It means short. So it's not. It's weird because he puts a fermata, which means keep it long, but then he writes short. So you shouldn't keep it very long. Okay, I'm gonna do that whole part lento again, and then I'm gonna go in the vif. I'm just gonna give myself a tempo. Ta-da! No, again, because I feel I don't have a direction in my phrasing. Just have to focus a little bit. Sorry. Okay, I'll go back from there. to stay piano there, sorry. So you have a subito piano, it's interesting. I'll go from 31. Okay, now I'm gonna do the next part. What was I? Oh yeah, when you have those long scales, sometimes there's a note that doesn't come out. Try to figure out which one and then focus on that note. It's difficult sometimes because right now there's a tiny bit of noise here, and I have a little issue with my ears right now, and I can't really figure out which note. Yeah, but if there's silence where you practice, you should be able to do it. Okay, I'll go from Vif. Okay, that's way too fast for me to sight read, so I'm gonna do it once like this. Since it's very fast, I'm just going to do the trill fingering here. Okay, what about this? I heard a version where the person does a lot of that. Really making the first note of the bar longer, around 43, 4. I think it's a good thing to do it once in a while to make it expressive. If you do it all the time, it sounds to me more like a tick than like an expressive tool. Maybe I would do it on 43, but then I wouldn't do it on 45, you know. Yeah, I think when you use those types of things as an expressive tool, you have to pick where you do it. If you do it all the time, it kind of loses its value. It's like there's this song by a French singer. He's called Jacques Brel, and it's called La Quête, the quest, La Quête. And at one point in the middle of the song, he stops singing, big silence, and then he goes, and he starts again. The fact that intense breath is very expressive, and it makes it very poignant, you know, very intense. If you did that all the time, it would just be annoying, you know. So that's how I take those types of little expressive things. Just be careful to pick where you do them. That's my opinion. I'm gonna do it once a bit slowly, and then I'll try to do it at the real tempo.
Do you have any general flute tips?
That's a general question. Want me to talk for 2 days? I don't know. General flute tips.
Oh, think about it.
Yeah, just
People are saying go check out the videos.
yeah, we have a lot of videos. So
Start watching them.
yeah, we have a lot of tips there. Yeah, but enjoy yourself would be the first one. Have fun. So here you don't do the E when you come back up. You go from it's just a C major arpeggio really here at 54, but then you skip the E and you go right to the G on 55. That was 72. The real tempo is 120. I don't think I can do that today. Dolce gracioso means soft and graceful. Yeah. Then you have crescendo, decrescendo, subito pianos, all those things. And then you'll practice your double tonguing at 65. A good way to practice that is to practice upside down, like instead of taka taka, you go kata kata, and then it gets easier on the other side. Here it's just that finger that trills. It's tough because it's that fourth finger that doesn't have a lot of mobility. So when I was talking about rotation before, I think that's a good. You can't really see it, but I'm thinking more about here than about the finger itself. Maybe it's easier if you lift the pinky with it. I think I'm a bit faster when I leave the pinky down. It's a tough one. Don't lift it too much because it's a finger that can get hurt because it's not meant to be lifted very high. Okay, I'll try it. Just try it. See how it goes. Way too fast for me right now. Let's see here. There was a little thump in between. C sharp here. Yeah. You see, I don't think, oh, I'll think about it next time. I just write it down this way. I know I'll think about it next time. No. Okay, so that's it for now. Any question? Okay, I'm gonna see the rest. So that's, you have a lot of chromatic scales, so maybe it would be smart to practice your chromatic scales if you're learning that piece. Anyways, you're gonna use that your whole life. Chromaticism is very important. So that's another chromatic scale at 85, and then another one at 90. You see here, I just think I'm in F sharp minor, and then I end up with an arpeggio. I have a little bit of scale, and then it ends in an arpeggio. Whoops. I'll write that it's not sharp because this way I'm sure. You see here, you have a B minor arpeggio, but it ends on an A instead of the B that you would expect at 100. So you see here, you have everything is subdivided in 3 because you're in a 6/8, you know, where but then he wants it at 102. You start having some divisions in 2. So at 102 you have ta 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 ta. So 1 2 2 2 1 2 3 1, and then you're in 3 again. But then at 108 you start ti ta 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 tia 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 tia, and then you go back into ti da di da di da di. So that's interesting. Make sure you really get that switch from 3 to 2. I'll go from 100. So for the D and C sharp, what you could do instead of going, you can do that, but you can also do, so you keep those 3 fingers of the right hand there, and you just move the left hand, and it still does D and C sharp. So I don't know if I said it fast, too fast, so you do D, and then you just lift the 3 fingers of the left hand, but you leave the other ones of the right hand, and just like that. Okay. instead of doing this F sharp, E sharp, you just do this. It's easier. I did a D sharp, it's not, so I write it down. I see students losing so much time because they don't write it down, and then they do the same mistake. Because I don't know why, when we sight read something the first time with a mistake, we tend to redo that mistake over and over, so it's always more efficient to just write it down right away. Oh, that's funny, because you have, I guess that's a G, 7th major arpeggio, but you don't do the G at first. You just go F, D, B, F, D, B. So twice F, D, B. So just think that. And you go on a G, and you go back F, D, B again, or F, B, D this time. And then it's a C major arpeggio, just simply a C major, E, C, G. And then E flat, A, and C, but then you go on a F, so that's a F 7th, dominant 7th, so you just go, you don't do the F first, you just go do it down, and then you have a B flat major arpeggio, and then you have, then it changes a little bit, and then you have a chromatic scale. So you see, if you see things like that, it's less work for your brain than looking at each note. You group them and you have maybe 4 elements instead of 20, you know? G sharp. Right now I'm getting more tired, so I'm making more mistakes. But I still should write it down when I make one. That's a very nice piece, I think. Yeah. Maybe I do the last 2 pages again, or maybe I try to do it a bit faster. I'll try with the metronome to see if I can keep it up, you know. Wait. go from there again. Slapped. Okay. Now that I've done that at the real tempo, I can see where the most difficult parts are, and then if I was preparing that for a concert, I would just focus on those a little bit more for the next few days. And yeah, and I realized, like, here at 100, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 da 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 tam pam 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 pa 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 pam da 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 pam 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 pa 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 pam, and then at da di da ta 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 tia 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 ti da di da. So let's say I do it at 100. And so on and so on. Yeah, so that it's easy. Like, I just work on the rhythm by itself before I take my flute back. Some other stuff I would need to really practice it so it becomes easy, and then I know what's coming up. You know, I'm not just reading and figuring it out. Just I know what's coming up. So I think that's it for that piece.
Yep. Okay, Sandy wants to know, how do you play high so easily?
Okay. You know, in your mouth you have the palate, the roof of the mouth. It's very hard. The front or the back, it gets it's soft, and it can go up and down. So if you go, you know, you kind of raise it, and then you use your head voice when you sing. Like, you can use your and then you will open your mouth a bit more, and then that will go up and make space. So that's pretty much how I do it. I go in my mouth. So and I don't move my mouth outside. The lips stay the same, and I use more airspeed, and just inside the mouth I go a bit more.
Okay. Sierra M wants to know, what scales are you expected to know for college?
I guess all the scales, major and minor.
Yeah, all major and minor, like 3 octaves or at least 2 octaves.
2 octaves at least, and with the arpeggios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be a good standard for most places.
Some places they ask up to 4 sharps and 4 flats. It depends. I've seen both. But I've seen, like, here in Quebec we have Cégep, which is pre-university. Usually they ask 4 sharps and 4 flats. But in university they usually ask all the scales. And arpeggios, like major and minor.
Okay, what type of flute do you have?
I have a Sankyo Artist. Does it still, do they still make them?
No, they don't.
Okay, it's old. And I have a Wimberley head joint, which is
not from the company. It's That's not a style. It's actually
No,
a
like
mixture.
I bought another head joint a few years after I bought the flute from a guy called Wimberly who lives in Halifax, and I think he doesn't make them anymore. But I love the head joint. I like it the way it's
Yeah.
like my little set.
How Adrian wants to know, how do you project low notes?
Use lower air. Keep the same angle. Don't cover the hole. Sometimes we play low. We do this, and then we don't have the right angle. Just don't move too much between the high and low register. You see, there's not much movement in my mouth. So the airspeed is slower in the low register, and then make it resonate inside your head. And if you push too much, you're gonna get nothing. You know, it's about letting it out, not pushing to get it, but just letting it out. When we try too hard, sometimes that's when we block the sound, I think.
How many hours do you practice a week? When was the most amount of time that you practiced during a week? When you were
When I was in university, I would practice during my bachelor's degree. I would practice 3 hours a day, 6 days a week. And then during my master's, I went a bit nuts. Sometimes I would practice 5 hours a day.
6 days a week?
Yeah, pretty much. And but not every day 5 hours. Some days I would do 3 hours, light days. But now I don't practice that much. Maybe in a week, I don't know.
When did you start playing the flute?
At 11 years old, I started. Yeah. Now I don't know. Maybe 2-3 hours. It depends. You know, if I have a concert coming up, I might do maybe 6 hours during the week. Because I teach a lot, and so it's less time for practicing.
Because there's a running joke right now with two-set violin. You know, they have this thing called the 40-hour ling-ling workout. It's like ling-ling. The workout, so it's like 40 hours all the time. It's crazy. They're crazy people there.
I don't think you need to practice. Like, when you're building your technique, it's a good thing to practice a lot. I'm not going to lie, because if you want to learn that. But, yeah, I think sometimes we practice inefficiently, and sometimes sometimes we practice maybe too much. Yeah. Yeah, but I think you need a certain amount of time to get comfortable, of course. But I would say sometimes it's also that we practice when you learn and you're not there yet, you need to practice less things and really get them well. Instead of trying to do, let's say you're practicing in the Tafanel and Gobert book, you know, and you do the whole book every week. It's too much. Just pick maybe a page and make it very good, and the next week another page, instead of trying to do everything and not really registering. Things have to become impregnated inside of you, so you have to repeat them. So it's better to do less and do it very well and do it a lot than trying to do everything and having nothing very set. Yeah.
How do you, Epic Sammy Nass wants to know, how do you do a crescendo from soft to loud for really low notes?
Okay. Well, you start like this. The hole has to be smaller, and the angle of the air will be a bit higher, and then you'll open the hole and put more air in, but then you'll put the angle of the air a bit lower because you don't want the intonation to go up. And that's pretty much it. Like this. And what you can do to help is to use timbre to assist you. So in the beginning you can do something very transparent, like ooh, and then at the end you use the nose and go nyeh, and then that will give a way more impression of it being loud, like this. Some of it is just sound color, just timbre, you know.
Emily says hi.
Hi.
Also, any recommendations for flexibility practice?
Like being able to go to low to high?
I guess so.
And high to low?
I guess that's what they mean.
yeah, maybe practice scales in, let's say this week you practice G major scale, then also practice G major scale in octaves, so go like this. And you see, I don't move much. There's a tiny bit of movement here. Very, very small. The most of it is just airspeed and in my head that, you know, space that I make, you know. That would be it. But like you see, like, let's say at 150, around 150 in that piece. I don't move much. Usually people think, oh, it's difficult, so I have to work very hard to get it out. It's not the case, you know. If you don't work, just find your position for your nicest note and keep that position all the way through. And just make sure you're supporting every note, and that's going to be it. If you have the book De la Sonorité by Moïse, at page 16, you have exercises that go like this. And then he does it on an E, on every note. And you can practice it at page 15. He explains 4 different ways of practicing it. That can be a very good way to practice that flexibility you're talking about. But I think the word flexibility makes it seem to us like we have to stretch somehow. We have to go and get the note. And maybe that word makes us think that, yeah, we have to move our lips a lot because it's flexibility. But the lips should stay stable, you know, especially the upper lip should just stay close to the teeth, not glued to the teeth, but just close to the teeth, and it doesn't need to move. Yeah. It's not flexibility really, because there's not much movement. There's no stretching involved.
Right, exactly. How do you avoid tight embouchure when playing staccato?
When I play staccato, I only think about keeping a mask, so my lips are stable, because I see a lot of people playing like that. Like they're eating I call it eating potatoes, you know, on each staccato. And what I do is, if I have a staccato part, let's say, I will practice it, let's say this. Or I'm not moving, but I'm doing exactly the same as if I was playing legato. I just add the tongue, but the mask is there. There's no, you know, none of that happening there. And then it should be okay. Just keep it the same as, play that part legato, and then keep it the same, just add the tongue. And keep the air support in the background, you know. That always has to be there. You know those little muscles here, where you have your ribs, you know, here. It's like you put your finger there and then push it out. That muscle's very important, I think.
Okay, we have one more final question, because there's a lot, but we can't go through them all. Wayne Charles wants to know, when did you move up to a professional flute? Did you change the head joint, or did you replace the entire instrument? We have a high schooler, maybe 3 years until college. Do we upgrade now?
I don't know. At one point, my teacher said, like, you're kind of going, like, your flute, you're using it at its maximum capacity. So maybe you need a new flute. I was 17, And then I got a new flute. And then at one point I felt, okay, I can't do all the colors I would like to do with that head joint because it was a type of head joint that brings the air in one spot. And I wanted to be able to have a head joint that maybe was less easy to play, but that would allow me more colors. So I switched that. And now I'm just keeping it. I could get a better flute, but it's fine with, like, I can play the way I want to play with it. It's a tough question. What would you say, Nicolas?
What was the question again?
Like when to switch to a professional model, and
when you feel like you know that you're going to be playing flute for your whole life, not professionally or amateur, it doesn't matter. Like if you feel like, oh, this is something I'm really going to be kind of happy to play for the rest of my life, then you should really think about investing in something that's going to last your whole life and beyond. So a good flute over $1,000 if you go look around, or more. There's very expensive ones that will last the test of time, as opposed to, but you'll still need to get it repaired and stuff no matter what because of use. But that's when I think there's a point for regular people is to kind of just that. If you feel like, oh, I really like this, I want to take this to as far as I can, I need the right instrument for that. So going out and trying those things is really when.
Maybe look at your budget and then see what you can get. But right now, I think is a good, like, it's a good moment because there's so many good flutes.
There's a lot of great makers right
and
now.
There's stuff that are very expensive, but some things are like around $5,000. You can get amazing flutes right now, I think, compared to what you could get maybe 20 years ago. Am I wrong in saying that?
Yes, that's absolutely right. The level is super high now, and just budget yourself. Put a budget, because there's a budget for every single type of flutist. So you have to, don't hesitate to make a realistic budget to what you can afford that will make you happy and not stressed about money.
Yeah. Because obviously it's expensive. Yeah. But if it's something you're going to do your whole life, like you said, it might be worth...
It's good having a good instrument that's going to always... It's like having a very good car, and you want that car to be... And
sometimes you can find great flutes that are second-hand.
Yeah. Flute Center of New York has used flutes and new flutes.
Yeah, so if you're looking for a flute, Flute Center of New York, they have a huge selection. In fact, it's the biggest in the world. And we have a deal with them. So we have a code. It's the TFC. So if you go on their website, it's flutesforsale.com, the number 4, flutesforsale.com. And you put that in, you get a longer warranty. You can try more flutes for a longer period than if you don't use the code. And for us, it gives us something in return when you buy a flute. So it helps us as well. And you can also call them. They're all flutists there. They know what they're talking about. And they have a huge selection. So that can be a good place to look. The deal works worldwide. So that's great.
Yeah, you can call them, whatever.
Yeah. And if you're looking for flute lessons, I give lessons on Skype or FaceTime or whatever you use. It works very well, and I enjoy doing it. So you can email us at info@theflutechannel.com. And next summer we'll do a flute convention online. If you're interested in that, it's
flutecon.com.
Flutecon.com, and you can sign up and you'll get in our newsletter. FLUTECON.com. And if you want some merch like shirts, we have a great poster that people enjoy a lot with all the flute fingerings and scales and flute trill, trill fingerings.
It's the best poster ever.
I think it's in the link below.
You can find them.
Yeah.
Store.theflutechannel.com.
Store.theflutechannel.com. Am I forgetting something?
No, nothing else. We can.
There's our Patreon. Go and look at it. We have a podcast, and Patreon members can ask questions and have access to the live podcast, and can ask also questions on the
directly to us. Anytime you want. We check the Patreon more than on the channel.
Yeah,
and so priority.
Also, it's very helpful for us, and
helps us produce.
There's a lot of different things you can get through Patreon, and it helps us. And thanks for people who are members. It's very nice.
Yeah, just type patreon.com and then type the Flute Channel, and you'll find us. Yeah.
Maybe one last question?
Okay, if I can find one. Let's see. can you play Flight of the Bumblebee?
Yeah, I could learn it. Like, I think I looked at it once.
Yeah.
I played it in high school as a flute quartet. It was pretty well written. We liked it.
Yeah, it's a fun piece.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I don't know what else there is. There's no more questions.
That's it?
I don't see any ones. No, it's all good. Oh, wait,
Okay.
we have one. Wait. No, it's all good. We're all good.
So I hope this was helpful. If you liked the video, please like it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and see you next time. Thanks for watching.